The global population is expected to grow from 7 to 9 billion by 2050. And not only do all those people need feeding, but they need feeding sustainably. One company working to ensure that all the commodities it handles are grown and processed in a sustainable way is Louis Dreyfus Company, the global merchant and processor of agricultural goods. Well, to discuss this, we're joined in the studio by Hogge, the company's global head of sustainability. I'm Sarah Lockett. Welcome to the Business Debate. Guy, welcome to the London Stock Exchange studios.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Now, it's not just the population explosion that's providing problems for food production. It's also that we're moving to cities, we waste more, and we just want more choice. So what's the answer?
Ultimately, more agricultural production, for sure, but sustainable production increasingly, as we have limited resource in terms of land, in terms of water, and we want to make sure we emit less greenhouse gases. So sustainable production is key.
Is working smarter, is it?
Absolutely. I think that the Food and Agriculture Organization of the UN come out with numbers that point to 70% more food being needed in the time period that you referenced, 2050. So that's a huge increase in what we produce relative to today.
And just so people understand what your company does, what does LDC do?
Well, from our fairly humble beginnings in 1851 as a regional grain supplier in northern France, we now operate in over 100 countries, moving and processing and transporting something like 80 million tons of a variety of agricultural and metal products.
And it's coffee and wheat and it's loads of different things.
And vegetable oils, sugar, coffee, rice, so a whole variety, yes.
Now, how much influence do you have over those farmers, those producers, in how they produce and if they're doing it sustainably?
Where we have a direct relationship with them, where we're the buyer, and where relationships go back generations in many instances, the farmer is very open to discussion about changes in production methodologies, new forms of crop husbandry. The challenge is where we don't have that direct relationship, where we buy from other merchants.
That would be, say, rice.
Rice particularly is a good example. So in those instances, we increasingly rely on either looking at certification or verification schemes that product has been produced sustainably, or working with other organizations to do the agricultural dissemination improvement on our behalf.
Now, one company can't change so much, but collaboration can. So what are you doing in that regard?
I think collaboration is absolutely key and of growing importance, given that, as you say, one entity has limited amounts of expertise. So calling on shared expertise, institutions that may have a lot more knowledge about sustainable production are increasingly a feature of our marketplace, I would say.
You have these forums which include the banks, the retailers, the producers, NGOs. What do all those different stakeholders add?
They bring a different perspective for sure, and a different priority. So if those entities can ultimately agree on what sustainable production looks like for a particular commodity, then we arrive at a common ground. A good example of that would be the soy moratorium in Brazil, where NGOs and agricultural merchants came together 10 years ago to try to arrest the deforestation issue in the Amazon. And by use of satellite technology, we were able to determine where deforestation was taking place for soybean cultivation and blacklist those producers, deny them market access.
So you had to get a bit tough there, so it was very much more stick than carrot.
Yes, but consensus was reached amongst the major players, and that did a lot of good in terms of deforestation reduction for soybean cultivation.
All right, well, on that note, Guy, thank you very much.
My pleasure, thank you.
And join us next time when we'll be talking about the latest innovations in healthcare and also in cybersecurity. Bye-bye for now.